What's happening, everybody? We are
Hey,
live.
Howdy.
hey, Darren, Eric, great to see you guys again.
Yeah, man.
You as well. Good to be here and great to see everybody as they, I'm sure, start streaming in.
Yeah, I got to say something, man, about Victor. And you too, Eric, but I just want to mention about Victor because I just noticed it now. Your voice, bro, is like so grounding, man.
Oh, good. Really? That's very good to hear.
I have to say, like Eric's too. There's like just when you do like the meditations and stuff like on your channel, it's just like I noticed it right in the beginning. You have a really grounding voice, man.
Well, good, good. And I just realized, oddly enough, per that comment, hey, Heaney, great to see you. Thank you for coming by. There's a lot of conflicts going on. Just a little show note here. There's Christy, one of our friends from our community, is going live right now too. And R. Wayne Steiger, I don't know if you guys follow him. He is live. And Krista, another one member from our community, is live. So we're all like live right now. So we will have people trickling in at various times today, I'm sure. But thank you for saying that, Darren. And oddly enough, I realized today that as of the end of March, geez, I think I started October. So November, December, January, February, March. It's been 5 months I've been doing the 2-a-days, doing the 2-a-day meditations. And I think it's just coming into it. And I like to say that when we're speaking our truth and living our truth and walking our path, that it comes out. And I've had numerous energetic attacks on my throat chakra. I've had plenty of offers from various people from the community to help me exercise my throat chakra and to keep it clear. And that's actually something I do on a regular basis, is work to keep my throat chakra clear. So one of those things. Great to see you, Bonnie.
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly say that kind of the same thing for myself, you know. Now it's pretty good, but I think that's something that a lot of us have been getting upgrades regarding.
Sure.
Especially, you know, aside from everything else, you know, our physical vessels. I mean, I'm noticing a huge difference in my body, and just when I do even Kundalini yoga now, the way it was like a year ago or even a year and a half ago, there's a big difference. And because I would do like a breath of fire move like this, and so easily I would have a neck spasm and my neck would go out. And now I do breath of fire and I breathe in and out through my nose, and it's like it feels just more. I don't know, man, how to even describe it. It just feels more strength, you know, like if that makes sense.
I've never heard of this. Can you show it? Is that something you can show us real quick?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, man. For one, if you want, like, and now that I think about it, I always forget about doing this. Have you heard of Kundalini yoga?
Certainly.
Okay. Well, one of the positions, it's breath of fire, and you like put your thumbs like this, put your hands up, and then the breathing technique is in and out through your nose, and so you're kind of doing.
Oh yeah.
And let me tell you what, man, it is the most powerful. You will start to feel euphoric. You will move the endorphins. Not only that, but it's like a quick way to energize yourself. So like if you're feeling kind of like not so energized and like and I even use it for like moving headaches and stuff. Like I'll have a headache coming on in the morning, and then I do breath of fire. It moves the energy.
Ooh.
And so it's really, I mean, it's so powerful to just give yourself a quick energy boost even. And I just think about it now. I'm like, man, why don't I do it during the day sometimes? They're like, you could do this throughout she goes, you could do this throughout the day. And, you know, and I always forget, and I forget how powerful it is. And it's the sensations you feel. It's so euphoric, like ecstasy, you know, just about.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to try that now. Have you noticed since
quick, man?
Have you noticed
right away?
No,
go ahead.
No, have you noticed since what we did before the stream, how you feel now? What we did before the stream to now?
Maybe you can hear it in my voice. I'm very energized.
Yeah. Eric, how about you?
I'm still a little like drowsy, but it definitely helped.
Good. good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Father Sky helps.
Try the breath of fire, Eric, man. Just, you don't even have to really hold your hands up. But what you want to make sure you do when you do it is the breath is even. So when you're breathing in and out, you want to make sure the in and out is even. Like, as long as you breathe in, you breathe out the same amount, and you can go as fast or slow as you want. And it's so potent, man. It's one of, yeah. So anyway.
Excellent.
Rules.
Where to start, man? Where do you want to start today, Darren? Because I did make a note. Seeing through the game. That's what I wrote down for today. Seeing through the game of what's going on.
Interesting.
So wherever you guys want to take that, if you have something else you want, hey, tell us about the RV stuff.
Darren. Yeah, I wonder if anybody in the chat knows about that, because I didn't know what it was, and I'm in this Telegram group, and I've been hearing people talk about it for like the last couple of years, and they're like, I'm waiting for the RV, and supposedly it stands for it's almost like reorganization. But the woman said, when I put it in the Telegram group, I'll tell you right now how it's spelled. She said, revaluation.
Reevaluation?
REVALUATION. Isn't that reevaluation?
So revaluation, not reevaluation.
Yeah. Yeah, and she just said, I go, what does the RV stand for? And she goes, revaluation. And she said right before it, I'm trying to get back to where's the, here it is. She said, because because Mr. T said, yes, on a tweet today, I don't know if you saw it, but he said, the operation is over. The patient lived and is healing. The prognosis is that the patient will be far stronger, bigger, better, and more resilient than ever before. Make America great again. So apparently, after his speech yesterday, and what everybody's been saying about, liberation, and like a lot of us who have waited patiently, because a lot of people are talking about gold, and something with gold, and like this woman was saying, road to gold. And then now they're talking about the RV, and they're talking about us being patient for, like, I guess the golden era or the golden age, or this no longer being suppressed, or
so I wonder if that's talking about our country as a whole, or if it's talking about specifically that some final test of med beds or something like that happened.
Well, she says right here, right after, she goes, it's all lining up for the public justification to go to gold. I say this is where the RV thing, she goes, I say notifications pretty fast. I see notifications pretty fast. We have to RV before our currency does. Trump signed an emergency executive order yesterday. Can he, in a pinch, do something to stabilize the dollar while Congress does the rest? All the pieces are falling into place for this transition.
So it sounds. I was gonna say it sounds something very economic.
Yes.
But I guess I don't have like much context, because so I know also yesterday that all the tariffs and whatnot were basically announced right after the stocks obviously closed. But like the thing with the tariffs though is, I know a lot of modern economics is built on basically like certain countries growing certain crops or certain countries doing specialized things. So then you have this forced, you have an economics of forced cooperation where all these different countries have to purchase from each other and send things across borders, even though that doesn't have to happen. Because like with technology, you can have each country like produce all of its own food. You don't have to have like certain countries producing like specific crops in specific times, which artificially creates like demand and all that other stuff. So I don't know if if some of the stuff with the tariffs goes into the revaluation and goes into that and forcing countries to be more self-sufficient, or where it's going beyond that.
Do you both feel that this is the start of everything flipping? Meaning, like, you know, us moving away from the fiat and, you know, the gold-backed systems and community and coming together and, you know, and everything kind of crumbling and the dominoes falling and everything. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Well, I hope it is. I'm ready. I'm ready for it to. It's like we spoke about this at my son's sunrise session. Is the truth? The truth is going to set us free, and I think this is part of it. Not just the new economic scheme, because I think there's this stuff called GESARA and NESARA.
Yeah.
And you hear about that if countries want to be part of this new economic system, then they're going to have to play ball. You know, they're going to have to play ball, and now I think the truth is going to come out that the world is not as dangerous a place as we make it, as we as Americans make it. And because I think there's a lot of things out there artificially, well, going out and stirring up crap in some country. Oh, there we have an enemy. So now we can spend more for our military, graft more out of that and line our pockets. And there's these insidious, well, maybe insidious is not the word, maybe it's nefarious, but it's like me saying, hey, I'm going to go start it, and Eric's going to supply the weapons and you're going to supply the troops, Darren. But the thing is our family members in the process are going to make a lot of money off of it, because what we're going to do is you're going to overcharge me for the troops and he's going to overcharge me for the weapons, and our family members, one layer removed from us, are going to sit there and overcharge me if I'm the government. And once all this stuff comes out, so the truth, it's going to be a little bit tough to swallow initially for many of us, for many people. But the thing is, it's going to set us free. Think about when things start happening and really impacting people in a positive manner. Think about the stinking vibrational frequency. Think what it's going to do to the planetary vibration. It's going to increase it. It's going to be amazing.
I agree. I definitely agree because, you're going to have the people that are very stuck in the, and I use nothing against anybody that has a 9-to-5, man, nothing against it, but it's like that, I feel like keeps you, like engulfed in the matrix and in the systems and the, you know, and kind of not really looking outside, you know, the box, so to speak, you know. But again, granted, everybody has choice and free will and can choose what they want, you know. But I definitely feel like that is going to be, yeah, you know, I'd love to hear you guys, like, just your feedback on how you think it's going to look, you know, or even unfold. If you have been getting any visions or anything, you know, a lot of people, that's what people want to know is right now. I know a lot of people are really wanting to, well, how is it going to unfold? How is it going to look? How is it, you know? And I don't really believe anybody really has the exact way it's going to happen. But then again, I really like hearing other people's feedbacks and what they've heard, or maybe what you're hearing, or, you know.
Go ahead, Eric.
So before I get to that, just wanted to say, everybody drive safe. Glad to have you on, Care Bear Bard of Cards, and then Nathan. I really appreciate it all, and all of you guys here. So I think, I have a little bit different of a perspective, I think, because one of the big things I've been doing a lot with my own, like, Reiki practice, and like what I try to do, especially on my TikTok, is focus in on like all those collectives that are like traumatized to the point where they don't really understand how to deal with their emotions. So like been doing healings for like the cartels, the mob. I've been doing healings for like the draconians and all these very dangerous groups. And I see our path forward as basically finding ways to connect with all of these groups and showing them that, you know, they don't have to be in fear anymore. They don't have to be in and especially for I've been doing helping people like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, all those insanely wealthy families. I've been helping to work on ending their family curses, and basically just trying to go through and show that like the path forward where we build that planet that we want to be in is by connecting with each other. It's with connecting with them because they feel that they don't really have people that they can connect with. Obviously, a lot of us we feel as the plebes or the average folks, like we've been pushed and forced to disconnect from everybody else, and I feel like the best path forward is if we can all learn to connect with each other, especially the ultra wealthy, because then they can see that they don't need to hoard their abundance to protect themselves from these curses, or you know, from the people who want to, like currently the theme is like eat the rich. Like when that idea or that feeling is like moved away, I feel like we can move into a better future together where suddenly you have the ultra wealthy just sharing everything, and you like connecting giving their funds to those people like us who know where to like direct it, or even to like community leaders that know where to direct it and how to build it up into the communities that we want.
That's very big of you to help them in that regard, help open their eyes. I never would have occurred to me to send them that kind of energy, just because I know what they are. You know, I know what they're backing right now, and
Oh yeah.
and I guess excuse me, I may not have the nuance in the way I send energy. I may not have that nuance that you as a Reiki master would have in order to get in that specific area. But I wholeheartedly applaud your effort, because that is very big of you to do that, man. That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, it's like putting your ego aside, and it's like seeing everyone from like I've said before, man. I watched this documentary with this woman Lori, who Amsterdam. There was a statue of Yeshua. It was
Can you sit a little bit closer, dude? You're like, there you go.
there was a she was in Amsterdam.
There we go.
There was a statue of Yeshua. It was like gigantic. It was like probably from the floor to the ceiling in this atrium. And every time I watch this documentary, man, on YouTube, from her being there, when she channels Yeshua, I get massive chills. My heart cracks open, and basically his words that I'm getting chills right now. His words that came out was he was able to see people from the pain they're in, not the act they commit. And I just I feel like I embody that, you know, like when I walk around and just seeing people for like that they're in pain, like why they're doing what they're doing, or why they're sometimes they don't even realize it. And I think that's so noble of him to do that. And his answer was, I came here to crack humanity's hearts open, you know?
Ooh, yeah. That's good. I love that all these different, we all know what a street preacher is, right? We all know what street preachers are. They're out there preaching on the street because that's what they're led to do. That's what they feel as though they should do. And then you have these preachers and pastors and various different religions in prisons. They go in and minister to the prisoners. And you know, one thing that probably every one of those people, everyone that finds himself in prison, probably the main thing they're lacking in their life is love.
Yeah.
is having experienced deep love on some level from a parent or from their siblings somewhere in their life. They got astray, somewhere they went unloved. And that's even, and then we have a society that tells us that, oh, if you have too much self-full love, oh, well, that's narcissistic, or it's bad to love yourself first. And that's not loving ourselves. We talk about this on my on my stream all the time. It's part of our meditation about self-full love. And I think that's one of the things that gets to it. And see how all of our activities tie into one another. That's what's beautiful about what's going on right now. Is they're all, because my big thing outside of what we do at Truthwave is I go out and nullify all the 5G, the bad stuff in the 5G every night. I go out and do that by myself. Nobody actually knows I do that. My girlfriend doesn't even know, but
That's cool.
but I go out and just nullify that crap floating around us. And the thing is, it's very weak, but that negative energy that's tied to 5G is out there. You see, it's out there. So it doesn't take much just to go out and wipe it out every 24 hours and just keep it at bay, because it's going to take it multiple days just to get back up to its toxic levels. And that's something that occurred to me. You know how these things happen to us. It's just something, you get these downloads, you get this information. And to your point right at the beginning, Darren, what are we feeling about what's going on? The only information I've gotten about what's going on, and I don't know if Eric even got to that point. I don't know if he made his point yet to your question, but I like the information I've received in the big picture is about first contact. That's the only thing I've received. But Eric, do you want to finish your point?
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, I was just going to say, like, I realized, like, for a lot of my life, I absolutely hated and despised, like, the ultra wealthy, and, like, I saw all the tools of control they had, and, like, how the military was used and all that stuff. And it wasn't really until recently, like the past year or two, that, like, I began to see just how, like, I mean, it's a trope in all the media that, like, all of them are miserable. Like, they're all miserable in their own way, and they do insane amount of drugs, they go partying, and they have all these issues. And so, like, even going into, like, political parties, like, all the Trump voters are saying how scared they are of the rest of the world, and then the Democratic voters are saying how scared they are of Trump voters. And it's just seeing what the fear is, and trying to find ways to bridge that gap to show these peoples that maybe you hated growing up, or you hated your entire life, connecting with them and seeing them from where they are, and seeing where their trauma is, and trying to help them with their trauma. So I guess, like, what I'm trying to say is I feel like us moving forward is going to be all of us collectively working through our collective traumas, like on one-on-one sessions and group sessions, at societal sessions. It's I mean, it's basically going to be a lot of large scale, just group therapy sessions, trying to, like, get at the heart of where the fear is that created groups like the cartels, groups like the DOD, groups like the Rothschilds, like, all of them. Like, it's a symptom, not the actual issue at hand.
Well, power is very seductive.
Oh, yeah.
Last year I had an experience, and I like to look at it as everything we experience is building us for our future. And I got a taste in a deep meditation I was having of what power feels like. And it was shown to me. It was shown to me in this meditation. And it was like here. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. I'm serious. It was amazing. But then it's like, and I was being guided in this, and this is a deep meditation. It was like, here, now you know what it feels like. So if you ever feel it come up in the future, be wary. You see, because it's very seductive, very seductive. And I shared that with some of my friends, and we chalked it up as being a wonderful lesson, because think about it, because what if you don't know what it feels like, and then you obtain it, and then you get drunk in it, instead of utilizing it for good as your initial intention, but then you get caught up in it. And that's what I think many of these families you talk about, many of these politicians get drunk with it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm getting some bad. Is that a train going by?
It sounds like I'm getting it too, so I think it might be off of Darren's.
No, I don't have no train.
Oh, okay.
I
All right.
did have a train pass as well, but
Okay, so it's gone now.
Yeah. You know what I have to say? Like, yeah, that's what I keep hearing is humanity is moving into the heart, and more and more, like, we're like, especially like this year, we're releasing karmic cycles, we're releasing ancestral stuff. Like, this is a big year for that. Especially the past few months, the month we're in right now, and we're moving more and more into the heart. We're learning how to lead and live from the heart, and all these quantum financial systems and all the med beds, all these things are all technologies that are from these higher dimensional beings that are heart centered. They communicate from the heart. That's how, like, they can tell whether you're, like, have good intentions or you don't, and we're leaving the head and from the heart. So, like, majority still functions logistically from their head, and we're finding out more and more that you can't do that anymore, and you're not going to be able to do it going forward. It's going to be even more difficult. And so we're having to work with, like, the thoughts, the looping, the restructuring our nervous system, all these different things to then be in the heart, and then follow the heart and lead from the heart, because we're so used to being in the head and thinking and figuring it out through the mind and understanding it. And now, I know for a fact. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, but I feel, and I've known, this year is so much more difficult to try to understand it from the mind. And the heart is, of course, really challenging, because you can't, it's like trying to figure out where we came from, I heard somebody say it so profoundly, that it's not, you can't figure it out from a thought or from your mind. And if you try to figure it out from your thought or a mind, and you get a headache, it doesn't feel great. It's like, but it's like, it has to come from the heart. It has to be a feeling that you feel, which is what most of us aren't used to, because that's how we've been taught, and programmed, and to just think about how you're going to get this job. Think about what you're going to do next. Think about the next 5 years. It's all mine. And now it's like, okay, I just have to feel into it. And what's next?
Well, think about when you're in high school. What do they preach? Oh, got to figure out your future. And you're like, well, I'm still kind of enjoying being a kid. I'm enjoying running around and having zero responsibility other than my grades. And,
yes,
and it's like pressure. And it took me a tour of the military to figure out what I wanted to do.
Whoops.
Time to go turn off those eggs.
What were you? Oh no, it's my stopwatch. What were you? How long were you in the military?
I'll wait for you to get back over here.
How long were you in the military for?
Just one enlistment for 6 years.
Oh wow.
What branch?
I was in the Marines.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I've come full circle from what I was when I was 18 or 19 or 20 through 23. Yeah, so it's been a heck of a journey, but because I am definitely not the same person I was then, but it took me that time to get in there and determine, okay, well, what's really important to me? Which way do I want to go? And this way, and some of it was still money oriented too, because it's just, what do we do for money? What do we do for money? Like, to your point, Darren, about 9 to 5, people trying to break away from that. I have someone very dear in my life that is still doing her 9 to 5, and we're working to get her out of that. You see, we're working together to get her out of that, because that's one of my goals too, is to help her get out of that, and do it in a way that helps her tremendously and enriches her without putting her in a poorhouse, you see, without ruining her life in the process. Because it's not easy. It's not an easy transition. But that's the thing is people like the people you're helping, Eric, they have set up all these systems and basically make it so it's very difficult for us to get out of our socioeconomic path. Because even, yeah, you might go to college, go to a good university, get a decent job, making I don't know, $200K a year or something like that. But where you're still going to be tied to that job for the next 30 years. And then you're still going to retire and live 5 years after paying taxes and paying. So in other words, I think those powers that be are making taxpayers essentially to make taxpayers to make it the world they want to do it. But that's built on their excess and our how can I say our struggle. And you have all these stories about, oh, well, look at Mark Zuckerberg. He made something out of himself. He dropped out of college. Yeah, but now you're seeing it in the conspiracy circles. He's one of them. They place people. And is it because of DARPA? Because these technologies that the bad guys, the cabal, whomever you want to say, have access to, and we're like, okay, well, here's a business right here that we can start up, and we'll put this guy. He's one of us. We'll put him in charge, or her. There's various things. And look at people that have wonderful ideas, and they either get bought out or get their ideas stolen, or they end up. Hell, look at Tesla's ideas. Where's all the Tesla's notes that got taken by the FBI out of his house 100 years ago? So
I will say along those lines as well, though. Like Darren did a BQH session on me that was super powerful. Back into a draconian lifetime of mine, and it was something important for me to see that, like, even them, even the Zuckerbergs, even whoever you can think of, all of them are also still basically chained to that system. Like, they are victims of it as much as we are, because even if they wanted to change something in it, or if they wanted to get to something better, like, it's the conglomeration of all of them that are enforcing it on each other and then on all of us. So even if they wanted to, in some sense, change it, we obviously know there are different aspects of different groups that silence people when they go too far. So even when, like, celebrities, or even if those super wealthy families wanted to change, it's enforced by the group. So you have to change the group itself in order for some of that stuff to just melt away.
You're right. Now that I think, yeah. Go ahead.
You ever wonder why we have so many one-hit wonders out there?
Yeah.
In music? It's because they come out with this great song, and then they refuse to play ball. They refuse to have dirt put on them. They refuse to go to those parties. They refuse to take part in the stuff that the overlords of that specific realm over, say, Hollywood or the music industry, but they are all so, how can I say this? Think about it. Imagine if a 3-letter agency has dirt on everyone, all the uppers in some specific organization, and they force others to go through the same process. So what they're doing is getting videos on them, getting dirt on them. So now all the way down through that entire organization, everyone has dirt on them. And so to be part of it, you have to sign your life away, essentially. And then if you do sign on with them and then you go against the script, then you're going to have a plane crash. You're going to be this way, or they shoot your plane out of the air with 200 other people that just happen to be on the same flight.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't have to live that way. And I think people are waking up to it. People are waking up to all the malfeasance going on around them all the time. It's divide and conquer.
It's interesting what Bonnie said, because in 2001, 99, 2001 is when I kind of left the societal norm of a 9 to 5, or one of the, I was having the similar stuff, man, like anxiety and exhaustion, and every time I would drive to these jobs, feeling massive anxiety, not wanting to be there, thinking about, like, what I'm going to do on the weekend when I'm off, and it's like you are never in the present moment. Not only that, but it just wasn't for me. And I kept like the longest I stayed at places was like 6 months or a couple months, or I was always bouncing around. It just never resonated with me, so to speak, I guess you could say. And thankfully, I feel like I've always had, I've gone against the grain, I guess you could say. I've swam upriver, and I do agree with everything you're saying. It's like my dad said it all the time. If be careful what you say. Back then in the 80s and the 90s, the moment you start speaking out is the moment that something like what you described. And I agree with both of you with what Eric said, and as far as like even the people way at the top, like a Bezos or something, they're in prison just as well, even though they may have all this money and everything else, because the moment, like you said, they step out of line, a lot of them have gotten like this person that I know channels a lot of different people that have passed away, and she channeled Mary. Wait, what was her name? She had like blonde hair. Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she was one that said the same thing, that when the moment she was going to go out of line, they told her they would take everything from her. And then I heard Michael Jackson. Someone channeled Michael Jackson too. It was the same kind of thing. It was the same kind of thing with Bob Marley when he started to speak out, and his music was at a high vibration, which still is. And if you listen to some of his songs now, even the frequencies are really high in the song.
I'm playing it in my head now. Yeah.
And the moment and she said when she channeled him that he didn't have no foot cancer, like they said in the if you Google it. It was the moment he started to argue with them about the music, because they were changing the frequency of the music in the studios, and he wasn't okay with it. And the moment he realized it and woke up to it, look what happened to him, and then it was mysteriously, oh yeah, you got foot cancer or something like that. I think that's what she said. I never Googled it, so if I'm wrong, I don't know. I don't want to, but as far as like him stepping out, a lot of them I think have tried. And then another one I feel like is Kanye West. How he started like kind of going AWOL. I think that he was starting to really speak his truth, and and then they made him look crazy.
Well, speaking of music, like today's music, I've seen different YouTube videos on this. It's apparently really sucky, like the most modern within the last I don't even listen to it anymore. Now I'm listening to stuff farther back, but they're saying that it has a certain frequency on it now. Look at one of them, Lady Gaga. She have a song called Abracadabra? You think I'm gonna freaking listen to that?
No.
With that word in it, and you've got all these millions of teenagers or whomever listens to her, whatever her demographic is, sitting out there nodding to it and dancing to it and embracing it. And am I wrong for not embracing that? Or I'm not even going to give it a chance. I'm not going to listen to it just because of the title of it.
No, you're not, bro. I mean, it's like I watch people at the gym with their headphones on, and they're just getting programmed. Like a lot of the kids, like I'm at like this one gym I was going to before. Now I'm not going in there anymore. I'm walking around. They got these massive headphones on, like Beats, and it's covering their ears and their whole face, and they're rocking to it. And it's like literally programming everything about them, like in the music, and it almost, they just walk around like I don't know. I it's hard for me. It's like I told someone yesterday, I feel like, and I've always felt like Split. like my half my body's in one world and half my body's in the other. You know, like half is in like um, the seeing everything with your third eye, and then half the like, and then watching everybody who's not at that state, and you have to try to fit in with like the Matrix way of being because we're still like operating in it, so to speak.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
dying.
I don't know if you guys feel that way or not, but I've felt that way my entire life, and it's definitely been challenging, to say the least. I'm trying to play in both worlds, I guess.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I think one of the I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it here, but it's like when you get on the path. When you get on the path, I did about 9 years ago, and the first step of getting on the path to enlightenment is realizing you're not enlightened. You see, that's the first step, is realizing, hey, wait a second, there's more to this than just what meets the eye. And oh my God, I see peace over here. I see love. I see unity over here in enlightenment. And I want that. And realizing that you're not, I think, is a huge step, is realizing that, hey, that's the step I want to take. And that's why I say it's the first step in enlightenment, is realizing you're not. Because if you have, excuse me, right here at 1313, according to my clock, the cool thing is when you have that realization, you have to have a certain amount of ego in check to realize that you're not perfect walking around, or you're not this or not that, or that there is even that other aspect out there that you can't see. And I think to your point, once again, in the gym, with those people walking around in that little world of theirs being programmed, I think, I'm not saying that they're a write-off. I'm not really even going there, but I think it's important to really mind our minds right now more than anything, is be very cognizant of what you put in your brain right now. I
Yeah.
think that's the message I would send to everyone listening right now. 1313 Mockingbird Lane. I'm sorry.
I totally agree with you. I think that you have to be really cognizant of the words that you're speaking, because they hold a vibration, of course. And not only that, but the thoughts that you're giving attention to and giving it energy to. 1000%. I 1000% believe it. And creating and visualizing what we want to create. And like Eric says every time, which I really agree, is coming together. All coming together, and we're more powerful in numbers than we are individual. And we were taught, oh, you got to be independent, you got to do everything yourself, you got to all of those things, to then be separate from everyone, and alone, and not. But yet, when we come together, man, like when you come together on a meditation, like even on your meditations, and I know that when I've been on meditations, or I've joined when I was in Florida, ones in person, they're so much more powerful than they are by yourself. Go deeper, it's so different. And the power that we have coming together but again, we weren't taught that. We were taught like, oh, you got to watch out for everybody. They're going to try to scam you or do something to you, or blah, 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 or, don't trust them, or, it's all. And then we had the whole 2020 thing, that stay 6 feet apart from everybody, and so it's like totally trying to get everyone to be separate, and divide everybody, and that's how we can keep people in control and fear, versus love, like unity, oneness, all of it.
Yeah, I think even something you just mentioned kind of brought something up into my mind, is yes, in-person meditations can be so powerful, because what that does is it overrides the limitation that we've been taught on energy. You see, because in person, you already know that you can establish this energetic connection to people, but we have to get over that. You see, we have to get over that. And that's one thing we do in TruthWave is we connect energetically a lot. We're connected the whole time energetically. And this energy knows no distance.
No,
And
that's exactly. No,
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. But I mean, versus you doing it by yourself versus like
oh yeah.
coming together and doing it, whether it is online or in person, coming together in groups, you know, is so much more powerful than I feel like what we've been taught as far as, oh yeah, do it by yourself, do everything alone, and be independent, you know. So maybe that's my maybe I misspoke it, you know.
No,
oh, well, I'm just go ahead, Eric.
I was just going to say one of the things that came to me recently was like the entire point of incarnating physically is to experience that separation of unity. And with that, the greatest healings come when you connect basically to yourself and others. And so the entire point of being here physically is to connect with each other and have those group meetings and discussions. So I'm 100% there with you. I totally agree.
You know,
Yeah.
Oh, we touched on this a little bit earlier as well is what happened to our multi-generational houses that we used to, that 100 years ago, people, we probably have ancestors that lived in houses together. I know on my surname side, we did. I know that for a fact that we had multi-generational houses. Why do you think we have living rooms now? They used to be morning rooms, but morning rooms because, and why do you think in a lot of these houses, they have these now dining rooms? Okay. Why do you think they have such wide doors on them? That's because that's where we used to display our dead in these multi-generational houses. And that's why someone in the 1940s suggested we start calling them living rooms. And why do we have a coffee table in our living room? Somebody changed it, and maybe for the better. But look what they did in the process of started a whole other industry that could be a whole additional industry, and that's the whole funeral industry. Basically took that process out of the house that we used to, you know, our multi-generational houses, and then turned it into another business, another thing to tax, another thing to make it expensive to even freaking die. Instead of your family taking care of you, maybe your family didn't embalm you, but maybe you had an embalmer come by your house and take care of your dead relative, and in your morning room or that main room. But it's even little things like that. And so what happened? Why do we not live in multi-generational houses anymore? You know, it's because the powers that be decided, hey, we're far better as multiple taxpayers paying for different houses. Why are our houses built to break? Why are they not more permanent? Yeah, you see, Eric's nodding his head.
Not only that, why aren't they more grounding? You know what I'm saying? And you know what I got a download on, which was really interesting? That how it was inverted. Like, okay, let me just get it, because it's really difficult because we've been saying it the other way, so it's like really hard to flip it, and I have to get used to flipping it. But it's like, okay, so outside, like nature, is actually inside, right? Because nature is inside us, right? So when we say, oh, I'm going inside, you're really actually going outside when you go in your house, right?
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you say I'm going inside, you're not really going inside, you're going outside of yourself. And then when you actually go in nature, that's inside. Because nature is inside you, right? So they've inverted it.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God. And I started saying it, but it's like a tongue twister to say, because we've been so used to saying, I'm going inside my house, you know, like in actuality, it's not really inside. So it's like we're training ourselves to continue to say, no, I'm going outside of myself when I go in my house, you know? And when you go in there, what have they done with these places? They're not grounding whatsoever, right? You actually have to go into nature to ground, just because of the way the houses have been built. And most of the time you're not grounded when you're living when you're when you're outside. And I
Because you're
said it
wearing
on the
thick
same.
boots, or yeah,
Huh?
because you're wearing thick boots or wearing something to keep you.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
The way that it was built, there's so many things in these houses that the way they're built, the structures that they're not structured in a way that they're grounding. Why not? Why wouldn't they be? We know how to do this. Oh, we got to buy grounding mats. Oh, we have to buy this. We have to get crystals. We have to do all these things to get ourselves grounded. Or we have to go hug a tree or put our feet in the grass. Like it does. But then you go to like places like Bali or India, man, and they're like barefoot, and it's the same thing with training us to get to buy these thick ass shoes that completely don't ground us, to wear shoes all the time. And
Oh, and if you don't wear shoes, then you're going to pick up some disease from the ground.
it's dirty. It's dirty. The ground is dirty, and the ground, there's chemicals, and it's like crazy to me, man. It's so like
But the chemical, what, fluoride? Remember when fluoride was big? I don't know if you're old enough to know, Eric. I don't know if you are either, Darren. But growing up, it was a big thing to have fluoride in your local water to help your teeth.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
But what's it doing is calcifying your pineal gland, so it shuts you off from everyone else. It's insidious. It's not just nefarious. I used that earlier, but it is. So think about this plan. Back to you, Eric, to your crew, to the people. I shouldn't say your crew because I know you're not part of them, but what I'm saying is the people you're working for, the people you're assisting.
Yes.
reach their wow. I can't really say that the right way. Well, the people that you're assisting, put it that way. The people you're helping find love. There we go. Let's say it that way. But think about it. They know that all this stuff is in here. They know. Sometimes I think the way these families operate too, especially in some of the things I've seen come up, is that they may have some kind of doctrine or mantra or something like that say, if you do X in this life, when you come back in your next one, then you're going to have this and this and this. You're going to have access to all this stuff. You see, so they do these things in this life, and they're walking through their life with the knowledge that they're going to get payout next time they come back, because they're going to be bred into the same family. You see, because they keep all these lines, they're all interbreeding with each other. And it's interesting to watch some of that stuff, because you see how a lot of these global leaders are related to one another. Okay, so that's a bit of a rabbit hole. So take that with a grain of salt. But think about it. It's like anything. If you are told from when you're born, from when you're young, that, hey, you're part of this, you're better than everyone, and if you do this and this and this, it'll ensure your next life carries on. And they keep it in very tight-knit families, keep reproducing within one another circles. And if you were raised that way, it's kind of like something, a necklace or a piece of jewelry that's very dear to you. And if it is, it's like wearing a cross or something. If something's very dear to you, it has power for you. It's a fetish. It's not a sexual fetish. It is some locations on the earth call it a fetish, because you imbue your understanding in it, and it has power for you. It's like having a cross. Okay, that's the best way to say it. And if you think about it, you're putting this stuff, your parents are telling you this, hey, when you come back, even though you're going to do these nasty things here, when you come back, that's your payoff when you come back. And think about it, if you had these families sitting here telling themselves this over generation after generation after generation. And that's what you're facing, Eric. That's what you're facing right there. You're facing that bred in continuity right there of each generation.
Yeah,
it's kind of scary.
Breaking those cycles, and a lot of them, these entities, whatever you want to call them, they figured out these tricks in order to skip like coming through the birth canal, because when you come through the birth canal, you forget everything again. So they figured out a way to like skip that where they can. I've even heard that they know how to come back into form where the baby doesn't have to go through the whole process. It can grow in hours to an adult,
Wow.
and they don't have, huh?
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, they don't have to go through the process because again, you go through the birth canal. That's when you forget everything. So, I mean, the more and more all these different things, like the clothing we wear, the shoes we wear, all these things keep us ungrounded, and then you have anxiety, then you have depression, then you're kept like the kids, like sitting in their house playing games, not going outside, not playing. If you notice, a lot of the generations now, like for our generation, like me and Victor's, maybe part of Eric's, like we were outside all the time. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have really computers. We had dial up. It's like, I didn't have to like be glued down to somebody calling me. Like I would just be out playing. And then whenever I get home, maybe somebody then left a message for me, you know what I mean? Or you got paid. I mean, we weren't distracted by all the things that kept us from, being grounded and centered. It's just become more and more, to have you to get you to be ungrounded. And yeah, the breath work, like, most of us shallow breathed majority of our life, mouth breathe, which is all stimulating the sympathetic nervous system, which is then keeping you in fight or flight, and all the time, and running from a bear when there's no bear to run from, And so it's like, along with a friend of mine told me that now I heard a train. They were putting something, I don't know what it was called, but he was telling me that they were putting something in plastic bottles that was screwing with your nervous system, because the key is the nervous system, that your nervous system's regulated and, and all of it. And none of these things are beneficial for that, or do they teach you that, it's more so kept just like Tesla's stuff,
That made me think about something about my youth, Darren. That's awesome. Is I remember spending hours and hours up in one specific tree. I used to climb trees all the time, but there was one that I really liked. And I'd go up there and I would just hold on to it. And I just kind of like hold on to it like this and just sit there and blow in the wind. And it wasn't a super big tree. But you think about it with that added weight, and it was sitting there moving in the wind, how much it was strengthening that tree. At the same time, it was giving me that connection. But think about it. Think about, we used to just go out and connect all the time. We would have dirt clod fights. Hey, that's connecting. We would be out digging holes. That's connecting. That's literally grounding the holy heck out of you. You see, out digging a hole to wherever, or we'd be digging it under something. Out and just dirty. We would have it all over us.
Man, I'd be at the beach like digging big holes. Like I'm like, oh my god, I could dig a hole to China, and then we'd all be like digging like these holes in the sand in the beach, And then when I was living in the Northeast, we'd be making piles of leaves and jumping into the leaves, and I mean, it was just like now people are just 24/7 playing Fortnite or Roblox or on their tablet or like just completely disconnected. They got shoes on, they got clothes on, they got all these things that keep them completely ungrounded. And then the parents are wondering why they're the way they are,
Oh, see, I can't completely discount that kind of connection too, because I look at it, we have a wonderful community and our community is strong and it's growing almost daily now. And so let's balance what you just said with online virtual communities, because would we not be the same way? We're here playing a different game, but we're still connecting to one another electronically.
Yeah, but a lot of us are more knowledgeable about the fact that we need to be outside, we need to ground, we need to do things, whereas the kids are just not really, Like they're not teaching any of them that, nor do the schools do that. Like to have that balance, you know. Maybe going to the park or I mean, I told Eric before you got on here, I was just at I was sitting outside and doing light language on my tablet on Zoom with like there was like 15 people, 20 people in there.
Sweet.
I had the door open. I sat in my car with the door open and nature was all around. Then even I had my headphones on and I felt myself feeling kind of spacey. So I stood up, I put my feet in the grass, you know, and yet I could still hear them. I could still see them on the screen. You know what I mean? Like doing that kind of that balance, you know, of, and I don't think enough of it is taught. A lot of us do breath work. A lot of us do these different things to, you know, to kind of balance it all out, you know. I don't discount what you're saying. 100%. I agree with you.
Oh yeah, nor do I. What you're saying.
I just feel like, yeah, the things that should be taught are not being taught, especially to the kids, and the, you know, and they're not outside enough. I spend a lot of time outside. Granted, yes, I'm on Zoom calls and things like that, but a lot of times I'm sitting outside doing it too, you know. But even when I'm not, I'm outside or inside, whatever you want to call it, you know. I spend a lot of time in nature. I'll use the word in nature, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And I spend a lot of time like doing stuff like this, like with the group Kundalini activation sessions, and we're about to do like a 6-week breathwork thing. We're gonna let you guys know about it. So yeah, I spend a lot of time doing both, you know. And I notice when I don't go to the parks and I'm not in nature as much, I feel more scattered and overwhelmed and, you know, less grounded, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, dude, we're already out of time. Are you kidding me?
Well, I say it every week, man, but this
goes
one
by fast.
Yeah, it goes by fast, man. And this one was awesome, man, with you guys. I love deep diving these conversations, man, and getting everyone's perspective. Thank you guys, man, for showing up and
hey, one moment. Next week when we start this, let's intentionally slow down time. I'm going to show you guys a trick. We're going to intentionally slow down time.
All right. Hell yeah.
We're still going to go an hour, but the thing is, it'll seem like after that hour, it'll seem like 2 or 2.5 or 3. It'll go a lot slower when we put that intention into it. So
yeah, please do.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
no, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm always excited to meet up with you guys and have these conversations, man. And you guys rock. And thank you for showing up in the world and doing what you do, man. Because we're raising the vibration, the frequency, and we're changing the planet, man. And very soon we're going to be in the freaking golden age. All right.
Bring it. Bring it. Bring it. Bring it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And thank you, man. We're building connection between all of us and community, and I love it, man. I feel like you guys are a brotherhood, you know?
Well, we are. I want to thank all the Truth Wave community for coming over and hanging out with us today. And thank you for your community, Darren, and yours, Eric. And thank you guys for bringing your awesome ass energy to this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you guys. It's always incredible.
Yeah, man. It's only going to get more and more incredible as we forge forward, shining our lights bright, man.
That's right. Well, hey, until next time, gents.
Until next time, man.
Namaste.
Namaste, man.
See you guys.